South Wingfield Station, where over 70 visitors are welcomed as part of our Heritage Open Days in 2021. This station, at South Wingfield, which is included on the list of case study buildings for our HLF-funded project, has been described by Christian Barman, in his book, An Introduction to Railway Architecture, Art and Techniques, in 1951, as the most perfect of all railway stations, and proclaimed by the Victorian Society as a maimed beauty. This masterpiece of railway architecture is one of the oldest surviving examples of a rural railway station, not just in the country, but in the world. Designed by Francis Thompson of Derby for the North Midland Railway Company, and built in 1839-40 of natural ashlar gritstone under a hipped and slated roof with reflections of a Victorian suburban villa. It is now the sole survivor of Thompson stations between Derby and Leeds, and has strong group value with the Grade II listed contemporary station Master's House and Boundary Wall, also by Thompson, and is the single surviving first-generation station amongst the many original bridges which are listed on this line. The station became a Grade II listed building in 1971 and has such significance that, after input from the South Wingfield Local History Group, Historic England agreed to revise this to Grade II in 2015. Admired by so many revered organisations, including the Railway Trust and the Victorian Society, this fine building has, since closure in 1967, endured a never-ending decay of its condition and building fabric. In private ownership since the late 1970s, little was done to either protect or restore this acknowledged rarity. The Victorian Society includes South Wingfield Station in its top 10 most endangered buildings, and it appears on the Buildings at Risk Register of Historic England. Historic England has awarded a grant of £263,000 towards the repair of Wingfield Station, which is among the first purpose-built passenger railway stations in the world. It had been in private hands and at risk for many years, and now afforded Grade II listed status in recognition of its national significance. Only 8% of all listed buildings are designated Grade I or Grade II. Since 2015, Historic England has assisted Amber Valley Borough Council in its discussions with the owner. When it became clear the Borough Council had to use its legal powers to get the building repaired, Historic England stepped in to provide technical advice and grant funding. Historic England also encouraged the Derbyshire Historic Buildings Trust to work up a conversion project and secure finance in order to take on the care and repair of this magnificent old building. A compulsory purchase order was approved by the Secretary of State, and Wingfield Station passed to the Derbyshire Historic Buildings Trust in December 2019. Derbyshire Historic Buildings Trust have since obtained a Stage 1 National Lottery Heritage Fund grant and other funding to develop a project to convert this former station over to office use. Historic England has now offered a grant for urgent repairs in order to ensure the building is stabilised and the project is able to progress. Dr. Ben Robinson, Partnerships Leader at Historic England in the Midlands, said, "We can't afford to lose a building of Wingfield Station's historical importance." Amber Valley Borough Council showed real leadership in exercising its legal powers to compulsory purchase the former station, and Derbyshire Historic Buildings Trust has pulled out all the stops to create an exciting and viable plan for the building's future. The National Lottery is supporting this project, but work is desperately needed now, as you can see, and it will be some time before further lottery funding can be obtained. So Historic England has provided this grant to make sure that the most urgent repairs are undertaken as soon as feasible and the building is saved. Lucy Godfrey, project coordinator on behalf of Derbyshire Historic Buildings Trust, said, "Derbyshire Historic Buildings Trust has been fortunate enough to receive amazing support from Historic England, from the early days of striving to save this unique Grade II listed railway station from total ruin, through to acquiring the site from Amber Valley Borough Council, following a successful compulsory purchase order. We are now thrilled that Historic England are further helping us to secure the future of the site through their offer of funding via the Repair Grants for Heritage at Risk scheme." Whilst Derbyshire Historic Buildings Trust had recently secured a provision for urgent repairs from the National Lottery Heritage Fund, once we had possession and were able to reassess the scope, and it became clear that the cost of this work will far exceed the budget. We can now address these risks sooner by preventing further loss of and damage to this significant building. This will bring us much closer to being able to secure a long-term sustainable future for Wingfield Station without damaging its historical and architectural significance in the process. The support team at Historic England have contributed an incredible amount of time and energy towards this project, for which Derbyshire Historic Buildings Trust and our iconic station building are extremely grateful. We're looking forward to working with the team, alongside our own experts and volunteers, in coming months, to identify the best ways in which we can protect Francis Thompson's sole remaining Midland Railway station. You can learn more about this project and the work we do in general by visiting our website. Thank you.